All right, we're going over today is Legislative Monday, and so we're going to go over which is a power packed legislative agenda. I believe there's like 54 items on tomorrow's agenda, and we will be in person at Welcome All Park.
The agenda's on the screen. Can everybody see it?
Good evening. Yes, we can.
Indeed. So fellows speeding. I'm not even telling us what we're going to be doing this. So, as y'all know, we're back from recess with our first regular council meeting tomorrow, August 23rd, followed by a virtual hearing of our millage rate reading Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock virtually. If anybody has any questions or want to be public comments, that will be taking place at 4:30. So you can come in person. I don't think they're going to be reading out any out aloud. Far as if you do it virtually or do it by Zoom. And so just going through the regular stuff, he's got, Code Enforcement Board appointments, Board of Zoning Appeals appointees, Councilman Sebastian. The confirmation of what's concerning to us over here is the confirmation for Mallory Park, which is phase 2. That was those townhomes on Buffington Road. They're finally going to get the solar panels installed at fire station number 6. And installation of a solar battery, Greystone Power. Number 11 is 87,000. They're going to please, want a truck outfit and equipment, graphics for explosive and firearms, K9 and handler unit.
Councilman,
Yes.
you said the townhomes on Buffington Road. Are those South Fulton townhomes or Union
Yes,
City?
ma'am. No. Mallory Park is those are South Fulton. Those are the ones right past Future Forward.
Okay.
And this was done, that was approved out there during when it was and they've been up there for a while, actually when it was Fulton County, but they just started like construction on them probably about a little over a year ago. And this is for phase 2 of those townhomes.
Oh, okay.
These are not the new ones that are being constructed with the brick closer to the street, down by Sable Chase and Sable Glen subdivision.
Now those are Union City, right?
Those are Union City, yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's what I thought you was talking about. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so taser certification bundle, police, item 12. Going around and Roman numeral 9, the rezonings of various modification cases. These are what we heard 2 weeks ago. This is the ones to be voted on. The alcohol license permit for the store at 2749 Hillendale, for them to continue their sale of wine and malt beverages, beer and wine. the case down from on Bethsaida of constructed 85 single homes in District 7. We vote on that. I'm not convinced that they met the arguments in that case, so I'm just gonna leave it right there. We have 15 special use permit for convenience store with gas station pumps, concurrent variances. I'm going for an overlay and sign ordinance that's constructed of a sign. Waive distance requirements for the same deal. It's on Cascade Road. And then agenda items part 1. So we're going to city purchases and contracts. This is going for the CDRA for expenditures not to exceed $650,000 for the first year, $600,000 for the second year, and $400,000 for the third year. Basically, $1.6 million over 3 years. Implementation of 12, 13 months. And so this is for a capital budget. Basically, it's IT and installing fiber. It's for the installation of fiber. So it's an upgrade to the system for the city. And then we can talk about open records request software. So it's a bit better software from when it's better with the open records request that actually, instead of looking for and having to file open records requests, you can go to a system, kind of see where things are. You can basically pull them off yourself. And, the clerk could, better explain that data, but I think it's worth it.
Excuse me, may I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
This is Glendon. How are you today?
I'm good, Ms. Glenn. How are you?
Okay, so with this new setup, is there a fee to pull it off?
I believe there's going to be no fee with it.
Oh,
And
okay.
so that's why I said I'm gonna let the city clerk be better, because the way he explained it to us is that, it's something that in his matter of fact, in his budget presentation hearing, the way he explained it is that it's going to be something that's going to be beneficial to cut down on requests, and cause certain things is going to be like you can just go right there to it and it'll be housed electronically, and so you can just pull it right off. So because I think the police had over 4,000 about 4,000 to 5,000 open records requests this year alone, and so it's a way to cut down on some things. So, like I said, it's going to be better for him to explain it. Then he can go back to his budget presentation, and then look at that. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. And the same thing through here with approved agreement with Street View and provide data access to pavement management. That's basically like when people see all the streets that's paved, and what coming, what has been done, and what's next. Also, too, with the installation of fiber, they got a funding information technology out there for the fire department. Next one is access to implement inventory management. Fire department operative IQ software. 23 is a fire hose to be placed on a new apparatus. 24, you got Motorola radios for apparatus on the new portable radios and upgrades. That's for the fire. Next one is fire as well. Purchase a few new vehicles. '26, purchase vehicles and inspections. Captain Fire Inspections and Captain Fire of Investigations. That's basically trucks for them individuals so they can respond on scene. The next one is fire as well for emergency services to areas off of New Hope Road and Cascade Road. That's basically to assist them when they need it to in areas where there are dead zones. So it's an agreement where they'll be able to respond. So if they arrived on there first, they'll be able to go ahead and assist in anything of an emergency situation. 28. I want to enter into a deal with Wade Coots, 1.5. I'm not really for this particular one. It's basically a standby contract, an on-call contract to provide construction out there on wastewater lines. So if anything bursts or whatever in the case of emergency, Wade Coots will be the one who would come out to fix the emergency repairs. You got 29. These piggyback agreements that, we keep hearing of these piggyback agreements is using these existing contracts of existing contractors from other municipalities to do work for what we have for capital improvement projects, particularly on T-Spot programs, which I'm still just like, we need transportation out from under public works. And this is one of the reasons why, because if you keep using piggyback contracts on things of that nature, for what is we getting out for us and for the city of South Fulton, and how effective are these contracts going to be? I'm just, these piggyback contracts, it just, to me, they're not definitive and they're not, anything. I don't think it's in the best interest of the city, but I'm not the subject matter expert. But anyway, 30, they want to execute agreement with Brightview for landscape management, for landscape maintenance of 212 miles of right of way, not to exceed $736,000, excluding the Fulton industrial area from the general services professional budget. Brightview was the second lowest responsible bidder, released late last year. So it will be effective October the 1st and then September 30th. So for 1 year, with 3 one-year renewal terms until September 30th, 2026. Now, mind you, I guess this is one of the ways that they're supposed to be trying to save money on right-of-way maintenance with all the cuts of throughout the city under the current Jacobs contract that they're saving. This is anticipation of, if they want to roll in, the public works to be in-house. Now, I'm just letting y'all know, I am absolutely not for standing up a public works department in-house when there's projects under public works that still have not even been executed or implemented, and it's 5 years old. So there's no confidence in that. I'm just letting y'all know. So this contract is based on anticipation of them rolling in public works contract. So 31 is they want to approve operation recommendation to purchase 28 18-inch solar power speed limit radars to be implemented citywide. I want to see, I'm not inclined to approve this because I want to see where exactly are the installations to be taking place, the implementation of these, and the timeline. Again, they did this with stop signs, the solar power stop signs, and there's none in areas in certain areas that need them the most, and they're all kind of concentrated over in certain areas. So unless they come with an implementation plan on where they're going to be located, I can't. There's no way I can see, that going forward. Not in my opinion. And
I'm sorry.
so that's just because that's absurd.
I'm sorry,
Uh,
Councilman.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Jane Williams here.
Hey, Jane.
So, hey. Okay, so I think you was on 31, right? You talking about the public works. Now I'm
Yes,
seeing all
ma'am.
these figures on here and all these, budget this and budget that. Now, last time at the city council meeting, was the person there, the finance person there that was supposed to give the budget? Where's all this stuff coming from? Can you plan all this stuff? I mean, I'm confused.
That's a good question, Jane, because it's kind of a little confusing that, that the budget presentation you talking about when we had the meeting and she didn't present the
That's
budget.
right.
She said there was no budget that she could present, and then she came
Right.
in her presentation and presented like a budget that was kind of just they kind of just ran right through it, went through it so fast. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out is I want numbers and I want implementation plans, and so well, we thank you for answering that question. But yes, I don't know. I don't know where it's coming from. It says and it costs not to exceed 140,226, which includes the hardware and installation. But out of what fund? Is this the general fund? Is this public works fund? Is this transportation fund? It says public works, but public works has a $15 million budget, but they're over $65 million in projects. And how many of those are transportation? Like in the sidewalks on Old National, which, mind you, by the director's mouth when I asked, when he said, they're federally fully funded, and so there's a 80% federal money, it was a 20% match, which the escalation cost of that 20%, which is the building materials and things of that nature, has went up. Is it fully funded by the match at 20%? But when it was fully funded at 100%, when we did have the 20% match, did y'all at least do the first step, which acquire the right-of-way acquisitions? And they said, oh no, we're underway now. That'll be completed later next year in March. That's
I can't
unacceptable.
figure out how come. I mean, they have all these grandiose ideas, what they gonna do, and all this kind of stuff, all this money, but I don't ever see anything going on. If that's the thing. Wait, I don't ever see anything. All I hear is talk, and then you got a finance director who don't even give a finance budget, I mean, and then it's like it's okay. Like the city manager, isn't she over the finance a person? She wasn't even at the meeting. So I'm just trying to figure out what is going on in the city of Southwood. You can put things on paper and make it look really good, but ain't nothing happening.
Exactly, because that's what I'm saying. These don't have no implementation plans. They don't have no metrics, and I'm just not accepting that. And so it's just like unless you come with that, there's no way that this could even be looked at or approved. And so, not in my opinion, not with good judgment. I'm sorry, I just cannot do it. But
They have these
32.
long city council meetings for what? Starting at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and go all the way to 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
And sometimes still don't hear the public coming. I'm just
right. With 32 we have here, right? And so this is for the police department, then for expenses. Of course, they have to
y'all put
go
that
for the
back there.
gas. Right. And then 33, the purchase of property, real property. So we're expanding our territory on Old National. This is for police and a new police station, and the purchase actually the real property down at Burdette Road. This is at the end of Burdette Road, Burdette Way. that land down there that would now be in the city. Okay, we have an intermission and then part two. So, right, eminent domain to come in for to complete sidewalk and bridge improvement for Fairman Road. Condemn other properties were necessary and for other purposes at Fairman Road and Utoy Creek. Another one, interest with bridge
Okay,
improvement.
okay, I'm sorry, Councilman Reed, okay, one more.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now, okay, I see where they have, you know, sidewalk stuff for Old National. How do we get stuff on there that says, you know, Flat Shoals Road sidewalk? How do we get stuff on there?
This is for eminent domain. This is for to complete the project. What you talking about is from an addition out there for T-Splice to add on to those sidewalks. This one is
Not
eminent
just add
domain
on to, right, to create sidewalk.
to construct, right, to construct sidewalks.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
But how do we get-
that's on T-Splice again, and sidewalks are under transportation. That's why we need the transportation out from under public works.
So
So
sidewalks are under transportation.
I mean that's really transportation projects, and so you know what I mean. But public works, they are coming public works if they need fixing, like if they're like a damage or something like that. That's where it falls under the public works.
Oh, so it's a sidewalks of damage, it falls under public works.
Yes.
But if we need new sidewalks, it falls under transportation. That don't make sense. I mean, I'm just saying,
Sidewalks are
Yeah.
transportation projects.
it should be under
But that's why,
transportation.
I mean, think about it. T-Splice is transportation special local option sales, right? So
Right.
that's T-Splice. Sidewalks fall under transportation. Any repairs to the sidewalks fall under public works. You got it?
Yeah,
You understand? You got it?
I hear it.
Right, but what I'm
Uh,
trying to tell you is those are T-Splice. Anytime you hear T-Splice is transportation, the T is transportation.
Yes, I get that.
Right.
Just like E is education. Okay.
Right, exactly. So, but any repairs, so that's what I'm saying is, so we're looking at trying to get sidewalks installed over Flat Shoals. That's on the transportation. This right here, what they're talking about is eminent domain. That's where that's public. That's somebody's land that they own that they wasn't trying to get constructed, so they have to do it by eminent domain.
Right.
Then they
What
have
I'm
to
saying,
compensate
so-
their owner.
Okay, so earlier, or even in the past, maybe not even on this agenda, that, you know, when things get on these agenda, how does that happen? Like, you know, they done grandiose job over there on Old National with these sidewalks. And every time I turn around, they still doing more sidewalks. I'm just trying to figure out, how come we can't get some sidewalks over here on Flat Shoals Road, on both sides of the street, because they need to be on both sides of the street. So I
Ask
just want to
Antonio
know,
Valenzuela. Ask Antonio Valenzuela on where that is, because I put those in for the T-Splice. And so that's who you would ask for why are they not there, or why they're not on the agenda, or why they're not even,
I think I asked
put
him
in
that the
for the
last time.
T-Splice.
I think I asked that when he was on here, and he couldn't answer. He said that we can get the money, but every time I turn around, they have money for everything else, which ain't gonna get
Well,
done.
you have to understand something. This is just for the eminent domain out there for to get the property. So this is not even for sidewalks. It is to complete the sidewalk and
Right.
bridge improvements. So
Right.
they just need to get this piece of land so they can complete whatever they have on there. So they can't just
Okay.
call people, right?
Okay, well,
And so-
I wasn't really asking because it came up. I just heard, you know, sidewalks. When you said
Right, we
Old
got-
National,
right.
sidewalks, so just- They ain't going on,
I got you, Jane. I got you.
okay, eventually
And
we
so-
gonna get those sidewalks. I'm telling you right now. We gonna get those sidewalks.
That's for sure.
Okay,
um,
very good. Thank you.
And then the first reader, okay, 38, and then first reader of ordinance to regulate fastening bills, amendments, notices to pole and trees and signs right away. Dr. Rao, 39, first reader related to solid waste transfer stations and other lawful purposes. 40 has a mitigation plan, but we need to update that every 10 years anyway. That's something that's standard operating procedure. 41, alcohol fee schedule. And I think this is when it comes to special use permits and things of that nature, and what would be the charge for those. Then 42, abortion care. That's about gums. 43 is approval of implementing penalties for driving on truck routes. And so this 43 is where is the implementing penalties is, but also too, like when people go over Stacks Road Bridge, because implementing penalties, that's one thing, but correcting them when they get the penalties is how we're going to do that, how we're going to enforce that. And, I'm curious to see that, how are all of the truck routes going to be enforced, monitored and enforced? Because that's key. That's key, is having them monitored and enforced. And so, and then second ordinance requesting city code prohibition of firearms. I do not believe in that. I'm a strong believer in Second Amendment, so I'm sorry, but I believe in the Second Amendment. Very,
Can you
very
keep sharing your
heavy.
screen?
Huh?
Can you keep sharing your screen?
Mm-hmm. 45 is mayor legislation initiatives. For council consideration of override of mayor's veto of council's approval of the work session policy ordinance. I'm not in agreement with that. Council consideration of override of the mayor's veto of council's approval of ordinance to amend the city of South Fulton Charter, Article 3, organization of government, general authority and ordinances, submission of ordinances to the mayor, sponsored by Councilman Williams. Resolution for wage study to raise the city of South Fulton's minimum wage to $20. I can't, I mean, I can't agree with that one. 48, resolution to decriminalize menthol cigarettes in the city of South Fulton. I don't know if we consider smoking a criminal offense. First read of ordinance to amend the city charter, city clerk duties. That's basically, we want to bring the city clerk back under the council. 50, city council and city administration. Municipal employees of the code ordinance, city of South Fulton, temporary employment services and for other lawful purposes. That's basically the utilization of temp services to get what we need to get done, particularly in a situation where deadlines are occurring. 51, emergency ordinance declaring a state of emergency for the city of South Fulton. Providing meetings to be held virtually and for effective date and for other lawful purposes. And basically, with the whole COVID and everything else, with the numbers back rising, we should really be looking at utilization of virtual meetings for the health and safety and welfare of everybody in the city, particularly with people in City Hall catching COVID. more than one time. I think it's important for employees to be safe, and I think we should have an effective workplace for them. And I think that we should, if we're talking about it, we should be leading in that effort, doing the things that's necessary to keep everybody safe. Um, Resolution adopted in
Okay,
conflict of
okay,
interest.
I'm sorry, Councilman, okay, okay. Now, are we saying, so, no, what are we saying when you say, keeping everybody safe? Are you saying close the city hall, or what exactly are we talking about?
So I'm talking about is what you have out there for providing city meetings to be held virtually, right? That means work session meetings, council meetings out there to be held virtually.
Okay.
Now, you can still go down there and get what's necessarily done in City Hall to get done in City Hall.
Okay.
But if we had a more effective system, that's why we installing fiber and everything else, because if we had a more effective system, you should be able to do everything online in a timely fashion.
Well, I mean, yeah, but the state is not closing down because,
No,
COVID is going on. I mean, we doing everything else. And nobody seems to have a problem with it, except for when it comes to city business.
no,
So-
there are things taking in place, like other things are taking in place, like reduction of people who are limited to come in at one time or limited in the building. But because you have to look at the numbers that are rising, and so that's why I say, in order to have this right here, to me, then the subject matter experts who are the doctors should have a report and should be looking at what is being said and what is being safe and what are the recommendations that they are saying out there from the CDC, and we should all be following those recommendations. But I in order to give substance to what we are saying about that, we should hear from the doctors as well. So they should be, there should be something to go along with that,
Right, even the CDC, right.
to justify what it is that we're talking about. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Well, even the CDC right now is not even talking about, wearing masks. I mean, there are some schools that, they're enforcement, but even the CDC is not even talking about wearing masks.
Yeah, but
So
we do have employees who have
but I
caught
believe.
COVID. We do have employees who have caught COVID down in City Hall on a couple of occasions. So
Right.
we do need to look at where it is specifically and where we are at with the news and what we do have factual information of as well. So,
well, I think we should all be wearing masks. I never stop wearing my mask.
Well, I love masks, so that's me, and I love virtual. So I'm just saying that. I mean, but to each his own. But somebody else is gonna say something.
Oh, I was just saying, Councilman, it's just Sheila Brown. The government is wide open. I work for the feds, and all the buildings are open. There's no limitation on masks or any of that right now. And then they follow the CDC guidelines every day, every week. So all the buildings are open and we back full staff. That's all I can say.
Hey, get this, and that's why I say that, that in order for us to do this and keep that done, that there should be, we should hear from the opinions on where are we getting the information from to do that. And so, because this is out and sponsored, and I would hope that will be a case of where we can hear evidence on justifying that, to have these meetings out there to be held virtually, because if it's going to be virtually, it's going to be 30 days. Because if it's a state of emergency, then that's another 30 days. And so that means our next work session and council meeting out there will be held virtually. So, but you're right. I would hope there will be justification for that, as we're here to hear, because it's sponsored by Dr. Rowell. So we're here to see what she has in store for the constituency and us to justify bringing that back up. And 52 is a conflict of interest policy for elected officials. And 53, ordinance amending the selection of members to the ethics panel. So I know I have to have a new appointee to the ethics panel. Speaking of, if anybody knows anybody in the district who has been an attorney practicing for 5 years, please let me know. And so as we look for us to be a city of ethics, I'm looking for a person to meet that criteria. And basically, and then 54 is, resolute granted special counsel authority to enter a joint defense agreement with the city of Lebanon and Sandy Springs to file legal actions for the purpose of distributing and securing a lost local option sales tax so we can get, the maximum benefit. So as y'all see, it's going to be it said now Mayor Khalid is good at one thing is like, usually timing these things out. So that last one is at 8:45. So about 9 o'clock. And so we start at 4. So, this is the result of, I guess, having 2 months off, really essentially 3 months, and back on there. And so it's going to be a power pack night. So it'll probably be 9, probably 10 o'clock. It might even be 11 o'clock before we get out of there tomorrow. It's going to be a very pack-filled day. And so I do hope some of y'all can come in person. But I want to hear if anybody have any questions or comments to the agenda or any concerns that they may or may not have. And what is it that you see on the agenda or do not see on the agenda that you think is very important to you and that is very necessary and needed for the community? Don't all speak at one time.
All right, Michael Venable.
Hey, Mr. Reeves.
Yes, sir.
What's going on?
How you doing, sir?
Real quickly, I didn't want to interrupt your speech, but some of the things, just some clarification. The Burdett Road property purchase, what is that for?
That is at the end of the Burdett Road. That is the purchase of that land to come into for the city of South Fulton. That is out there actually expansion of the park. And so,
Okay.
but one of the things that we have talked about is for it to be a utilization of both a park, a track, because the community is lacking of a track. So if it's a track with a multi-use inner field of that, accompanied with the fire station. And so I'm actually down in Fort Lauderdale right now, looking at design concepts where they have those fire stations and football fields along with a park. It's a whole park, and the start of it is a fire station that goes all the way down, but it's more than just a track and a field. It's multiple parks and stuff like that. And then they also have an existing field with the park that they're constructing a brand new fire station on. And it's one of those things that can exist. I personally think that, having a track, something the community lacks, a rubber track with an interchangeable field with a fire station attached to it gives 24-hour safety, gives it lit. And so it's very well lit. And it's very utilized and useful function within that footprint. And so, and it makes sense. And so that is something that, I'm looking towards the community to have input on and to help with the design, particularly right now. If we can, agree to that concept that, the fire has the money to construct the to the fire station. We have the acquisition funds, and we have some funds left over from the ERA, and there's additional funding through grant opportunities to construct that. And so but this first part now is acquiring the land. And so we've been acquiring this land since last year. So it's finally coming to a close.
Okay, the police property, why did that move from the nursery? Originally, they were gonna buy the property from the old nursery for the police station.
What old nursery?
Oh goodness, the one beside the Bank of America Tilly, then you go back up.
You talking about Jackson Music?
No. This is if you intersection of Burdette, you know, when you go to, it used to be the bank, it's a medical place, then there was a Tilly.
Yeah,
Then
I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Venable. Yeah, that got scrapped because when a person purchased that property when it was looking at it, somebody else purchased that property.
Okay. On the
And
the firearm thing, is that supposed to be for all city property, or what that legislation?
for the where?
Yeah, the firearms, the guns. The one you spoke about that you were for gun, but you know, the
The prohibition,
oh,
the prohibition of firearms.
yeah.
Oh no, I think that's citywide, but I'm a Second Amendment guy, so I mean, I believe in God, guns, and bullets, and so I'm just
Well,
not going to.
no, you're
I'm not even
correct. I
going to
mean,
sugarcoat that.
it's got, you know, they did the thing with Kerry. So I mean, you can't override that. I thought it was just something just for city property, but that was
I think that's out
fine.
there for parks, but I'm going to have clarity of that because see, that's where I want to have clarity on where is that standing because I want to be specific, right? I want to be specific, and we're talking about prohibition, and so city buildings, city parks. I mean, but does the state? This is where I don't want to be misleading, and I don't want to get it wrong. Is because we had this discussion before, and the state supersedes municipality in this case, and I don't want to say we have prohibition, we put up, it's not allowed here, but because there's a state mandate, there's a state deal, then, we can't enforce it if somebody has it on there. So I don't want to do things that we can't enforce or override the state and their decision making. So, because it would be pointless.
Okay, I agree. And I think that'll get me. Those are the ones that just wasn't clear in the from looking at that, but appreciate it. This is real good, and even your opinions I kind of agree with on several of them though.
Okay, yes, sir. And so, yeah, anything that this is why we go over it kind of sort of today, because it's like, yeah, certain things, and that's not including things that's probably going to be walked on tomorrow too. So I mean, because things might be walked on there. So we'll see.
Ms. Collins?
Yes, how are you again?
I'm good. How you doing, Ms. Collins?
Good. One problem that we seem to have with the city is the staffing. And I feel as though if we had qualified staffing with the city with great customer service skills that would respond to our requests or our problems, then we would not have all the situations we have, and it would eliminate many of the calls and complaints that we have with the city council. And I don't understand, why is it that we cannot find qualified people to work in these positions?
I agree with you 100%, Ms. Collins.
Thank you.
They run off.
Ms. Sumlin?
Good evening, council. This is Ernestine Sumlin. I have a question, please. I realize that a lot of the properties are private property or they're owned by certain people who may own them. but on certain streets like Buffington Road or Old Bill Cook Road, there are overgrown trees or limbs that are hanging. And if a good wind comes by or a storm comes through and hits a car from a particular area, is there a department within the city of South Fulton that would trim these trees, or who would be responsible if it's private property or if it's on city property for any damages that might be done?
That's a good question. I think we have had this incurred before. And so when it's private property, they say it's on the owner. When they say it's on the city property, if it's near a power line, they will say Georgia Power. If it's on the right of way, then they would say the city, who would have to contract out to get those cut down and removed. And so, but whether it's on private property, Georgia Power property, city property, right of way maintenance, like you said, it's a hazard, because if a storm comes down, it can knock the power down. If that tree is in the middle of the street, then it causes a problem for all those departments to respond. And then how long will it take them to respond to that one emergency? Then when they clean it up, as they have done before on Old Bill Cook, Georgia Power, they cut up a tree, left the stumps. It was so close on the road that you might, that you feel like you might hit one of them tree stumps just driving by there. So, but then they're put on a right-of-way property, but then they say that's on private property and it's on the homeowner to get rid of. And so it's one of those situations like that's just insane, because what's the process? And to have those, there should be a protocol in place from, cut down storage and to removal, to completely remove. So there's no real answer to your question that I have, is I would have to defer that to our public works director, our city manager, as where they are with the utility companies and with the a standard operating procedure of where that's what do they have in place of in case of emergency, what does happen
Because
from beginning to end.
because there was a tree that fell on I guess it's Royal Parkway South, and the employees from, I guess it was the first warehouse up on the hill. I'm not sure if that's Pitney Bowes or who that is, but anyway, the employees were out there. A tree had fallen. It was dead, of course. So the employees from that warehouse, they were out moving the dead tree, the limbs or whatever had fallen, because it was blocking traffic. And none of the, I don't know that any of the city people were called, but they were moving the dead tree limbs so that traffic could pass.
Well, let me just tell you this: past the Mercedes-Benz
Right.
dealership, that's Union City.
That's Union City?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. All right.
And so when you look at Royal 85 South, is Union City in certain areas and South Fulton in a particular area.
Right. Okay.
It's just the way the map is drawn up in the line. And, that's what, right. But I do understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anybody else? Okay.
Councilman, I would like to thank you for coming to our HOA meeting Saturday. It was quite informative, and you're welcome to come back at any time. Thank you.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Anytime. And anybody that wants me to ever attend their HOA meeting, just let me know. I will be there. I'm gonna let y'all know right now, scheduling meetings during the week is, before 4:00, it's not gonna look promising. So if y'all didn't have a meeting during the week after 5:00, I could do that. Or it will be on the weekends. And so every other weekend, let me say that. And so I will come out anytime that it's called and needed to be. So it's I'm not too far away. I do want to be able to communicate. Some things takes me a little longer to get to and respond to than others. But my cell phone, my city cell phone number is 678 628-4546. Tamika, if you can put that in the chat. And that is the number that I can be reached on. Some people, I give them that number, they haven't had my number, so they calling some number, but they're not getting a response. But if you call that number, or you can text that number, and I will respond. And so, and that is my direct cell phone number, as well as you can reach the office or Tamiko, and she will, if she can't handle any thing that needs to be handled, then she'll pass it along to me. But she's very good and capable of getting a lot of stuff done before it even reaches me. So, because the number one deal is we want to ensure that your questions and concerns are answered. And if anything can be done, we want to make sure that it is done and completed. So, because the constituents are my number one priority. And so we want to make sure that we achieve that objective of answering y'all calls and questions. And it's a good time. And so that meeting took place outdoors. And so I do have driveway conversations as well. So just call me. I am around. I'll be, matter of fact, I'm back in town Tuesday afternoon. I fly back in. I'll be there tomorrow afternoon, and then I go straight to the meeting. So outside of that, Tuesdays I usually reserve the time off for because we have council meetings, work sessions, and go over city business. But anybody else?
Councilman, I sent you a longer letter, just wanted to see if you could read that before council meeting.
On my email?
Yeah, city email.
Okay, all right. I'll look over it. I'll look over it tonight when I get off.
All right, thanks.
All right, no problem. And so, well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what, it is Monday night, and so it's 7:23. I'll tell you the
I got some
Falcons
announcements.
Right, the Falcons do play the Jets tonight on Monday Night Football. So I know that if anybody want to get to that. And so, but we did have to, well, go ahead, Tamika, with the announcements.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, this is last call for if anyone wants to go with District 5 to cultural arts fairs, chicken and biscuits at the Southwest Art Center this Friday, August 26th. We will be having our reception at 6:30 and the show will be starting at 8. So make sure you email me that if you would like to attend for 2 tickets. Code enforcement is doing a District 5 senior citizen cleanup on August 24th at 9 a.m. So if anyone is available that wants to volunteer and help clean a yard, please let me know. They started a new program of Code Cares where they're trying to help seniors who can't clean the yard or do certain things and keep them from getting the citations. So anybody who is available to help, if not this week, another date, just let me know and I'll put you in touch with code enforcement. And some of you have asked about how to get speed bumps. I have gotten a response and sent it to all your HOAs. So that is it for me today.
Okay, good deal. And the last thing was we had to postpone Friday Night Live from last Friday due to the rain, and so they moved it to September the 9th, and I'm making it involved into the 9/11 weekend of events, and so look for that as the police and fire versus kickball has been extended to September the 9th. But that being said, if everybody's clear, we're in. Go ahead.
Tamika, there is one hand up.
I do have. Yeah, I tried to get on early, and I'm having a lot of connections problems, and I couldn't even hear what you guys were discussing till the last 15 minutes. So I apologize for that. But last week before you closed, you mentioned this company called Mind, M-Y-N-D. And I had definite a lot of questions about that relationship between Mind and South Fulton.
There's no relationship.
Okay, well, not now or in the future.
Oh, no. My company is on the list that, from my perspective, is to never do business with. My company couldn't even, vote and pick up trash in this city. Not in my opinion. Invesco gave my company $5 billion to invest and go buy up property for sale to turn them into 100% rental communities for rental purposes only.
Okay.
So my company is a property management company that is going into communities, and so we're dealing with, if you go onto the tax assessor, you can see my company as you'll see ownership as my company, and that's why there are certain things that need to be put in place for companies who buy up these investment homes and treat them like businesses, and they should have a business license and things like that to operate rental companies, as any other company would do. So we're trying to look at, closing loopholes in the laws where municipalities could have more rights as into when it comes to regulating these companies.
Well, my concern was, I thought you were embracing them because there are two homes, a couple of my neighbors sold out over the past couple of years, and one of the families left maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and they have so much trash, and I've called code enforcement so many times. Tried calling mine over and over and over again. When I found out who owned the property, or at least who manages the property, they won't clean up. They won't do anything. They just, the grass is uncut for 3 or 4 months at a time. And my neighbor and myself took care of the trash. They even left an old car in the front yard. And so,
what address is this?
This is in the same area where you guys wouldn't cut the grass coming in the subdivision, the 3 Lake subdivision. But I had code enforcement out here a number of times, and nothing has ever been done. And so I have a serious problem with mine. I saw them I went and looked them up online, and it's a lot of bad reviews.
They're horrible. And their office is down on P Street, and I actually went down to the office. Nobody was there. And I left a note, and it's like they're infuriating, is what they are, and so they're a menace to the community. There's no way to embrace this company. There's every reason to reject these people, in every which way, shape, form, and fashion. So, but I'll speak to you offline about that. So it's I'm just going to reserve that comment.
Okay, that's great. I'm with you on that. I just thought that you were, trying to do business with them. I didn't know that.
Never. Oh, get this. Never in a million years. I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't even recommend. I wouldn't even, anybody who works with them or subcontract with them. I mean, just to me, it's just. Yeah, I'll reserve my commentary offline. I'm gonna just say that. I do that.
I have a question in the chat. Can neighbors file Better Business Bureau complaints on them?
I get this. Try it. Why not? Just try it. I don't know the answer to that question, but just try it. I think that let's find out if we can or cannot file a complaint. And I think that I don't think that there's nothing off the table, particularly when it comes to this company.
Right.
And so, let me just reserve my comments offline, because I mean, that's a topic that's just, I want to be correct in my speech and my articulation, but on record, but I just say that this is I just need to be quiet right now. But you can call me and I'll tell you what, we can have that conversation. But outside of that, it is 7:30, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you, and I appreciate your time and your attention and coming on and taking time out of your day and to join us on this call. And I hope you do join us tomorrow as we do go through this lengthy agenda and for your council meeting and to see where your dollars are at work. And so y'all deserve it, and because y'all are the best of City of South Fulton. And everything we do it for you. And I love you. You can't do nothing about it. And always remember to say something good about South Fulton, because this is where you from, and if this is the place where you want to be, we do have to make it the place where you want to come. So we're gonna strive each and every day to do that. And take care and have a good evening.
One more announcement. Ms. Joyce has an announcement.
Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Joyce Hackett Scales. I am a board member for the Old National Merchants Association and also chairwoman for the Downtown Development Authority, working with Mr. Artie Jones in economic development. We have a community event that's an annual community event, which is every year in the city of South Fulton, and we come together with City of College Park with a annual 5K. And it is to support up and coming graduates going off to college. We just had a banquet in June and we awarded scholarships for students. You can go onto our website. Tamiko, if you could put that address, the website is www.onma.us. That's Old National Merchants Association. You can check it out on Facebook, Instagram, but please come out for a day of fun. It's in the Old National Commons parking lot. It starts there. September the 17th from 8 a.m. to 12. You don't want to miss it. You have Mr. Jason Schultz, who owns Trainer Die Compound, and Mr. Corey Cradell at 138 in Old National. They're going to do a morning workout. It is not a hard race, but it is a Peachtree Road Race qualifier for those Peachtree Road Race participants. But it is a fun morning to come out and connect with the people in your community and just give back to the Old National corridor. So thank you for letting me share that with everybody tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sister Joyce. And one of the things is that's one of the things that we did. Terry Colley and myself has got that event qualified for that race with Kevin Smith and for your organization to increase the numbers. And that's one of the, and Terry Colley is no longer with us as he passed away, but a couple of months ago. And so one of the things of the contributions that he did. And so along with the Merchants Association, it's a very good event. If there's not, I do plan on being there. I think I have something else scheduled that day, but I do plan on being there. As I do wish everybody do come out and then support your local ecosystem. And so, which that organization helps the kids and community from this ecosystem to go advance their careers in education. So that's something that is definitely look forward to every year. Thank you, Sister Joyce, for that.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a great night, everybody.
All right.